Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports. And today we are back with an interesting video for all of you. It is regarding decoding the mystery spinners. Now, what exactly is mystery spinners? The terminology is being used even more in a wider sense these days because a lot of these bowlers are known to be mystery spinners. And in IPL, especially, you have quite a few of them. Now, the terminology mystery spinner is all about spinners with a lot more ammunition, a spinner who can bowl a little bit of leg spin, a spinner who can bowl a little bit of off spin, carom ball, maybe a flipper, and of course a wrong one as well. So a bowler who has these many artilleries or ammunition with an S bowling varieties is nowadays termed as mystery spinner. Now, when you talk about mystery spinner, you go way back in 2008-7, where you saw Ajanta Mentis really make that mark as a mystery spinner. He had that beautiful carom ball which deceived a lot of batters. People were like, "What is he all about?" Then he had a good googly as well, and he had a conventional off break. So it was all about how did this mystery spinners come about. Now in the modern day and age of T20 cricket, you need to understand that a lot of these spinners need these kind of artillery to stay put in the leagues and actually survive for the longer period of time. Now when you talk about Ravichandran Ashwin as well, Ravichandran Ashwin also has evolved, especially when it comes to carom ball, especially when it comes to him trying leg spin in a particular season as well. So it is all about trying out new things and staying ahead of the batters, because even the batters have got different shots, likes of reverse sweep, likes of paddle sweep. So in order to stay ahead of the game, you need to have these ammunition. A lot of these, especially when you talk about finger spinners, they are the ones who are mystery. Now you can we call Rashid Khan a mystery spinner? Definitely to an extent, yes, because still a lot of teams are yet to decode Rashid Khan. Now, what makes mystery spinners what they are today, right? Because what are the common factors or common grounds when you talk about mystery spinners? Who are the ones who are right now there in IPL? We've talked about Sunil Narayan to number one to start off with. He's been in the IPL for the last decade or so. He's been so successful in IPL, especially when it comes to him just going at 6 to 7 runs economy every game. And to add to that, picking up wickets consistently as well. Now, when you talk about Sunil Narayan, there's another issue also with Sunil Narayan. Over the years, he's always had the issue of his action. He's always had the issue when it comes to him being found out with illegal deliveries, him bending his arm. Now, who's another bowler? We can talk about Varun Chakravarti, who's his partner, bowling partner in Kolkata Knight Riders. Now, he has also developed himself into a mystery spinner over a period of time. He came about in the Karnataka Premier League and TN Premier League, and then of course he was there to get into the IPL with Kolkata in 2020. He had a phenomenal season and getting that call up for India. His trajectory and journey has also been pretty impressive. Now, there's one common ground between these mystery spinners. Even if you want, you can add Mahesh Deekshana as well. Their bowling speed is one of the major artillery what they have. Now, if you're a mystery spinner, you don't want the batters to pick you off the surface. The more slower you are, it is easier for batters to also adjust to you. Now, when you talk about Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan, their bowling speed is their biggest strength. And also at Rashid Khan. Why is it so hard to pick these bowlers? Now, it is often said that their bowling speed and picking them off the pitch is one of the toughest reasons why it's unable to. Most of the batters find it very difficult to play them. Now, off the pitch, a lot of batters, especially when it comes to conventional off spin, you can go on the back foot, wait for the ball to come onto the bat, then you can adjust to it. But when it comes to bowling in excess of 90 kilometers, 95 kilometers per hour, which Varun Chakravarti, Sunil Narayan, Mahesh Deekshana, and to an extent even Rashid Khan does, you need to understand that it is very tough for batters to go into the back foot or the batters to come down the track and adjust against them. Now, that is one of the primary reasons why they've always found success. Secondly, hiding the grip. Now, I have a cricket ball with me right here to understand how they go about it. Now, when you talk about conventional off spin, you need to understand that conventional off spin has always been about having this grip, this conventional grip, and then maybe giving it a tweak across the seam, giving that proper refs on the ball. Now, when you talk about finger spin or when you talk about carom ball, what is it about carom ball? Now, we all have played caroms at some stage in our lives, right? Now, what is a flicking in carom? It's with your middle finger. Nowadays, you have two kinds of carom balls. One is definitely with your outer side of your middle finger. You give that a little bit of flick on the seam, which eventually lets the ball release from your hand. Then it pitches. Then it goes towards the offside of the batter, which means it goes off the off stump, which means it turns away from the right hander. Now, what is another kind of carom ball which is very prominent, which you have seen Varun Chakravarti, which you have seen Mahesh Deekshana, I use it to very good effect as well, which is a flick from the inside of your middle finger. That ball lands eventually and goes like an off spinner. Now, for a batter, how do you think he can possibly adjust to that kind of a variation? It's very subtle, because he might see the ball being flicked from the middle finger of the bowler, but can he really understand the ball is going to come in or go out? So that kind of variation at a very high pace is what makes them that mystery spinner, and what makes them to be that mystery element. That element of mystery is all about these subtle variations. Now, we have to also understand to this, how do they release the ball, especially while flicking at 90 kilometers or 95 kilometers? It is one of the hardest straight with a hard shoulder. The shoulder is what comes into play over here. Excessive amount of training. We have heard Ravichandran Ashwin talk about it, how he used to practice with a tennis ball initially, how he used to practice in excessive with tennis ball to get that shoulder pressure going, to get that get your hands and shoulders get adjusted to a certain pace. Then it becomes even more easier with the cricket ball, because of the weight and because of the dynamics of the cricket ball as well. So that is where excessive amount of practice. It is not easy to find a mystery ball, or it's not easy to develop a carom ball overnight. It is about years and it's about months to develop it to land in the right pace. Now we have talked about the googly as well. It's a very interesting thing because most of these leg spinners have a back of the hand googly, which goes right from your palm, which is very different from a leg spin. When you talk about leg spin, you release it from the side end. The ball, the revs what you give is from the side of your hand, the side of your palm. When you talk about the googly, it's on the back of your hand. Now, what is it with this mystery spinner? A lot of these mystery spinners use their two finger googly, which is basically releasing from the back of the hand with two of your fingers, which again puts the batters in a conundrum, because especially when it comes to facing an off spinner, when it comes to facing a carom ball, already you're in a, as a batter, you're in a point of bother as to whether to go down the track and play for the ball going away, play for the ball coming in. Now that is where some of the ballers have found so much of success. We have talked about Varun Chakravarti over here. Varun Chakravarti has got a lot of wickets just by that two finger googly, where he's been able to land in a right pace at the right time and make the batters to play for the ball going away. Because the moment you see the wrist of the baller go, you eventually, as a batter, and with that pace, you eventually think, okay, this could possibly be the ball going away. So let me play an expansive drive that opens a larger gap between the bat and the pad. Now we've not seen that used commonly by Sunil Narayan. Sunil Narayan has been always about the fingers. Sunil Narayan has got a phenomenal carom ball. Even Sunil Narayan has got the two hand carom ball, which the with the middle finger he can tap the ball in, and he can bring the ball away from you as well. And he's got a very good off spin with which he holds it like this rather. He holds the ball like this, and he gives a small flick, which makes the ball come away, which makes the ball go away, and also at the same time he rotates his fingers a little more for the ball to come in, which we will be seeing in a couple of videos which we have. Because if you talk about that game, RCB versus Kolkata Knight Riders, is one of the prime examples how two mystery spinners completely dismantled the team. Now I'll bring you an interesting quote which Owen Morgan explained. Now, for when you're reading mystery spinners during night and during day, it makes a lot of difference. Owen Morgan recently went on to say that playing a mystery spinner during the daytime is much more easier than playing them during the nighttime, primarily because of the natural daylight. Now, when you have floodlights involved, though floodlights are very bright, but the natural daylight makes you to read them better from the hand. Now, when you talk about floodlights, it's still not as bright as a daylight, as the sun beating down on their hand. So that is one of the major element as well. Now, when you talk about reading of the pitch as well, you can see the pitch, or we can read them off the pitch in a better way during the daytime. When you talk about floodlights, it still is not less brighter than when you talk about the natural daylight which is available. Even ABD Villiers went on to make that statement as well, because ABD Villiers told playing Sunil and Varun Chakravarti in Chennai in 2021 during a day game was much easier than playing them in a night game in Abu Dhabi later that year. So that's what makes a major difference ultimately, because the pace, the light, whatever helps you to see and read them off the surface, or helps you to be lined up. Now, who plays mystery spin very well? Some of the batters who reads them from the hand are the best ones to play it, or some of the batters who are very good sweepers as well. Now, when you talk about the best players of spin, not all best players of spin are also very good against mystery spin. That is one factor which you need to keep in mind, because they often tend to be stuck in the crease and be in a dilemma as to whether to go on the front foot or whether to stay back to a baller like this. Let's see some of the videos, right? Because it'll help you to understand how it goes. One of the dismissals which we have in play for you is the dismissal which Sunil Narayan took Virat Kohli in Kolkata. Now, that dismissal in itself is an identifying factor of an off spin. there Sunil Narine gave enough amount of reps. That was a slower ball compared to many of those balls which he was lining up with. That was a much slower ball off the pitch, and ball Virat Kohli completely through the gate. Virat Kohli did not expect the ball to turn so much as well. That opened a gap between the bat and pad, and Sunil Narine went through it. Now that is the element of the mystery spinner, because in that over he balled two balls which was going away. Then he set him up for a ball which was much slower and dragged Virat Kohli to made Virat Kohli to play that kind of a drive to the onside. And he could have possibly gone with a straighter bat there, and that's where Virat Kohli missed the ball completely, misjudged the length, and he was balled through the gates as well. Let's look at another dismissal. This is a Varun Chakravarti over here. How Faf du Plessis in the same match was dismissed by Varun Chakravarti. Now, you can say it was played on, but then he was deceived completely. Again, that was where Varun Chakravarti had the upper hand. Now, if you look at that dismissal, Faf du Plessis is trying to play that ball through the cover region, and he had a proper gap between bat and pad, and the ball came in. Now, what is the difference in that ball? Now, in that ball, that was a googly. You can say that was a two-finger googly which he had, where he made Faf du Plessis think the ball is going to go away from you and play for the leg spin, but that was the googly, which definitely created a big element of that gap between bat and pad, and he went through the gate of Faf du Plessis. Now, that is the element which I'm talking about. When you have a leg spin and a googly with you, alongside a conventional off break and alongside a carom ball, that makes the batters wonder as to which one to really expect. Now, when we talk about Varun Chakravarti himself says he's got close to 6 to 7 variations within him. One is a googly, he's got a flipper as well. He's got a beautiful back of the handball, and he's got a straighter one which just slides through. So when you have so many variations as a batter, in a very minute period of time, you'll have to really guess, okay, this is the ball I should be ready for. Now, that game was played in Eden Gardens, the dismissals you saw in Eden Gardens, the floodlights are also not the brightest, so it is even more harder to pick a bowler like Varun Chakravarti off the pitch and off the hand on those kind of circumstances, because the day and night game, once again, if there's no dew and if there's some bit of help from the pitch, these ballers become even more effective than what they already are. Let's look at another dismissal, right? In the same match, Glenn Maxwell, who's another main player of Royal Challengers Bangalore, got out. Now, what is with that ball? You can say that's a ball which is much more shorter, and what made Glenn Maxwell to go into the back foot. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. When you talk about Faf du Plessis' dismissal, that was much slower through the air and made him go into a drive. But that you could say is a faster googly from Varun Chakravarti. That was much quicker, and the ball turned subtly enough to take the off stump of Glenn Maxwell. You can say it's more of a flipper, but a flipper which turned in a little bit as well. So that is Varun Chakravarti's strength. The more quicker he balls, the tougher it is to pick him as well. And he can also turn the ball slightly so with that pace. That's what makes him very much more potent. Now I'll bring an element of Rashid Khan as well, because I already did mention about Rashid Khan. What makes Rashid Khan still so unpickable? What makes Rashid Khan still so effective? It is the pace through the air. Now, over the years, the natural school of cricket will always say, or the purists will always say that it's so hard if you're going to ball fast, you're not going to get anything out of the pitch. It is true to an extent, but in a game like T20, you have to say the wickets come from a little bit of defensive bowling as well. You can never say Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narine are the biggest wicket takers out there when it comes to picking up a purple cap every season, but they are more effective by keeping that run rate to check. They might be just going for 6 to 7 runs per over, and 8 overs of spin, it really puts a team under pressure to go after one of them. And that's where they enjoy a lot of their wickets. Now, in comparison with someone like a Yuzvendra Chahal or Kuldeep Yadav, who are totally from the pure school or purest school, you have to say that they are much more conventional in terms of the pace in the air. They ball at 75 to 80 kilometers per hour. They bring the batters forward. They try to get most of the dismissal by deceiving the batters through the air. That is totally different when you talk about Rashid Khan, Varun Chakravarti, or Sunil Narine to that extent, because they rely themselves on the pace, and they rely themselves on the pace so that the batters don't pick them, batters don't come down the track to them, and Hence, they get a lot of wickets as well. Now, when you talk about Rashid Khan's googly is one of the hardest to pick because of the reason that it's so quick through the air. It's tough to really identify that subtle change of crossing, whether it's coming in or whether the ball is going away. And if you're a batter with two minds going into bat Rashid Khan, then Rashid Khan is going to be all over you. The best example is a game of Gujarat Titans versus Kolkata Knight Riders. You saw Rashid Khan go for close to 35 to 37 runs in the first 3 overs, where Venkatesh Iyer really lined up against him. Venkatesh Iyer is one of the better players of spin in the IPL at this point of stage, and he's been playing domestic cricket for the longest period of time. Even Nitish Rana really lined up against Rashid Khan. But the moment one of those batters were dismissed, and when Rashid Khan was when Rashid Khan brought himself into the attack in the fourth over, he picked up a hat trick. Now that is what I'm talking about. If you have new batter in the crease, it's very hard to pick someone like Rashid Khan. And if you're a right-hander, when the ball is going to be coming into you and the ball is going to be going away, as that is going to put you in so much of trouble as to how to really line up against Rashid Khan. Now, another bowler I'll also mention, he's sort of a mystery element, but is Ravi Bishnoi. Ravi Bishnoi has had a lot of success in the recent past. Again, a major element is the pace again. With Ravi Bishnoi, a lot of batters can already identify that he's going to be bowling that googly more often than not. But now what Ravi Bishnoi has really developed is that subtle variation when it comes to the leg spin as well. Now, he has already given himself out as a bowler who bowls 80% of his balls as googlies and 10% as straighter ones and 10% as the leg breaks. But with him developing the leg break to even more better effect, it's tough to face Ravi Bishnoi. And his pace off the wicket as well is much more quicker than a normal conventional leg spinner like Yuzvendra Chahal. Ravi Bishnoi balls at a higher pace. He balls close to 95 to 100 kilometers per hour, whereas Yuzvendra Chahal is from 80 to 90 kilometers per hour. So it is even tougher, especially when it comes to Ravi Bishnoi, to come down the track against him. He might be a little bit short, and you can wait on the back foot to play him. He's of a school, you can say, more like Anil Kumble, who was quicker through the air. It's very tough to go against them. It's very tough to come down the track and dominate them. And that is where their strength is. They become more like a defensive bowler, but they also taste success because batters would want to come after them at some stage of the game. So that is the major strength with all these modern day spinners, one can say so. The pace, the subtle variations which they have, which might not be extremely prominent and which might not give them a lot of success when it comes to red ball format, because in red ball format, you often do not take that extra element of risk. You can still wait and you can still play them off. And as I mentioned, red ball matches do not really happen during the night time as well, because one of the theories which is coming out in the recent past is, as I mentioned, is playing the mystery spinners at night is much more tougher than playing them during the day. So considering all these factors, one can say so the element of mystery stays with these spinners because of the pace, because of that extreme bit of subtle variations. Now that is what makes these modern spinners separate. You can say in T20 format they will get a lot of success in the coming days, and you expect a lot more variation to come as well. Now some of the bowlers are also trying a seam up ball, which is very interesting for their liking. You have already seen Piyush Chawla do that previously. Piyush Chawla has also bought bouncers in a couple of occasions. But there it is a way and the trend in which the cricket is evolving, and you can expect a lot more variations as we go along. Can we see ambidextrous as well? We already have seen during the under 19 World Cups, one of the Sri Lankan bowlers was ambidextrous. So you might see bowlers trying to bowl with two arms as well in the coming years. So that is one of the ways in which you can counter the modern day batters where the shorter format of the game has become extremely batter heavy and it's become in favor of batters. So, guys, this is about it from us, analyzing and decoding mystery spinners and what makes them special and what is the reason why they're called mystery spinners. If you really did like this video, do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel. We'll be bringing you more of these tactical and interesting analysis of all these players in the coming days as well. Thank you for watching this and have a good time, all of you.